right, we'll get you the breaking update that is coming in at the moment. U.S. President Donald Trump has launched a scathing attack on the World Health Organization now. Trump has said that we weren't being treated well by the World Health Organization. He claims that COVID-19 came from Wuhan and that he said it first and not the UN Health Organization. First, quickly listen into what Donald Trump has said on the WHO.
The World Health Organization, $500 million a year. Look, it's a lot of money, but in the overall scope, it's not that much, but it's a lot of money. And we weren't being treated well, and they were making the wrong diagnoses. I was the one that said it came from Wuhan. They didn't say that. They refused to say that because they were totally owned by China. So I was saying it came from Wuhan. They didn't want to say that. Now it's turned out, I think it's been conclusive that it came from Wuhan. But I said that on the first day.
Now remember, this statement comes at a crucial time when Donald Trump is set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping in the next 2 days. He will be in China on the 14th and 15th of May. And the role of the Chinese government has always been under scanner over its initial part to curb the spread of coronavirus. The COVID-19 pandemic had emerged in Wuhan in late 2019. It has generated two main hypotheses. First one suggests that natural zoonotic transmission from bats through an intermediate host at a Wuhan market is what caused the entire pandemic. The other one points to a laboratory leak. And so far, we've never had any confirmation from the World Health Organization either. But this is interesting, the fact that Donald Trump has said that it came from Wuhan. Let me quickly go across to my colleague and our correspondent in New York, Susan Teherani. She's joining us live at the moment. Susan, interesting statement coming in from the American president, particularly at a time when in just a few days from now, he will be in China and he will be meeting President Xi Jinping, somebody who's always, denied that this virus came from Wuhan, and he's always objected to the COVID-19 pandemic being called the Wuhan pandemic or the Wuhan virus.
Yeah, one can't wonder whether or not these comments were just off the cuff and accidental, but rather extremely measured, as you mentioned, on the heels of his possible visit to China this week. It's interesting to note that this is an issue that resonates politically with a lot of people here in the United States, both Democrat and Republicans. The origin of the COVID-19 pandemic really has been at the forefront of a lot of issues when it comes to U.S.-Sino relations. And one of the criticisms that his predecessor, Joe Biden, often received, whether meeting with Xi Jinping or having phone calls, was why is it that he's not pressing Xi Jinping more on the origins of COVID, how it developed, and how we can curb something like that in the future. But again, it's not just the trip. It also comes at a time when relations on technology, on trade, and on global dominance really are at a very high point right now between China and the United States. So, bringing the issue of COVID into the mix right now on the heels of this trip to China, not only sort of opens this debate politically with China, but also it was sort of, for lack of a better term, a double whammy against the World Health Organization as well, as the World Health Organization now is making announcements regarding the hantavirus.
That's right, Susan. Let's wait and watch how this entire visit by Donald Trump will go there. Of course, some interesting statements coming in ahead of his crucial visit there. Susan, thanks very much for joining us at the moment.